Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Musings with MGL. I'm your host, as always, MGL, coming to you from the outside studio today. When you live in the lovely state of Florida, why be cooped up inside doing these videos when I can come out here and enjoy the lovely pool deck and the lovely weather while I can? I probably won't be out here in the next couple months because it'll be 110 degrees, but for now, good place to be. So, I'm going to do a quick little rundown on my thoughts of Trump being indicted. It's a little bit more political. It doesn't really have much to do with Second Amendment firearms, but obviously it's a hot topic. Being a defense lawyer, I have some little insight into the logistics of what's going on here, and then I have a little bit of political commentary about it. So as always, like, share, subscribe, click the bell notification if you like what I have to say. Tell all your friends about it. I'd really appreciate it. So, Trump's been indicted. Let's talk about the logistics of it at first and get into the minutia. I'm going to try and not bury everybody in the weeds here, but I think it's important to go through what's exactly happening here. So right now there is an indictment out for the arrest of Donald Trump. It came from, everybody knows by now, New York City. There is a district attorney in there. His name is Alvin Bragg, and he is a district attorney, and he went to a grand jury and he got an indictment for Trump. What did he get an indictment on? Okay. Quick backstory. As everyone knows, by now, Stormy Daniels is an adult porn actress, porn star, or whatever you want to call it. She alleges that about, 16 or something years ago, her and Donald Trump slept together in a hotel. That was her allegation. She popped up again in 2016 when Trump was running for president and started threatening to send this story around to various newspapers and tabloids. And so the Trump team Trump himself decided that they would enter in a settlement agreement with her. Again, taking it from a loyal perspective, that's what this was. It was, people want to say it's a payoff or a hush money or whatever. The fact of the matter is it's a contract that happens all the time in these type of cases where somebody basically extorts somebody or blackmails them and says, look, unless you give me some money, I'm going to sue you, I'm going to go public or whatever. And then famous people usually just write them a check so that they go away because it's not worth the hassle. So they paid her $150,000 to go away and not tell her story, and they made her sign an NDA, which is a non-disclosure agreement, which again is common in something like that, because why pay them the money if they can turn around and tell their story anyway? So in the middle of the campaign, Stormy Daniels was paid $150,000 and signed an NDA about this alleged affair she had with Donald Trump decades ago. The money originally came from his attorney, Rob Cohen is his name. He fronted the $150,000 out of his own personal account to Stormy Daniels, and then Trump paid him back and reimbursed him. Now, when he did that, the state of New York has a form that you're supposed to file when you do things like that. It's either a campaign finance form, it's a record reporting form, basically, where you mark some boxes about what you did with the money. Because Trump paid it himself, they said it was a personal expense and not a campaign expense. They said the money came from his personal account. This is what Trump is saying, is that the money came from his personal account. He was paying her because he didn't want the story to come out because he was married to Milana at the time. He has a child or whatever. He didn't want the personal embarrassment in his life. He was trying to save the feelings of his wife and his kid. So he paid her the money and signed the NDA, something he's probably done with dozens of other people in his career because he's a famous guy. What the prosecutor is saying is that actually that was a campaign finance expense. In other words, he wasn't paying her for personal reasons because of his marriage. He was paying her so it wouldn't affect his political career and his election for president. So instead of marking the box for personal expense, he should have marked the box for election expense. Because he didn't do that, that's a misdemeanor in the state of New York for paperwork crime, essentially, marking the wrong box. So that's a misdemeanor. Now, again, not to get too bogged down in the weeds, but in New York, a misdemeanor only has a 2-year statute of limitations. And remember, this happened in 2016, so that time has gone. So if he was going to be charged with a misdemeanor, they wouldn't be able to do it because the statute has run out. What the prosecutor in New York did is he's tying the paperwork marking the wrong box to the felony federal charge of campaign finance fraud. Okay? So there's a federal law that says you have to declare those things on the forms just like everything else. And since he's saying that lying on the New York form was in furtherance of the federal felony, that the New York misdemeanor is actually a felony, and the statute of limitations on that is 7 years. Now, I still think they may be outside the statute of limitation for 7 years, but that's how they're able to charge him now for something that happened in 2016 that's actually related to allegation of an affair like in 2006 or something. So that's the logistics of it. He's charged with, allegedly, we haven't seen the indictment yet, but the concept is he's got a felony charge that actually arises out of a misdemeanor that's tied to a federal crime. Now, the funny thing is that the Federal Elections Commission already investigated this issue and said there's no crime here. They've already decided that there is no federal violation of finance, of the campaign finance laws, and they chose not to do anything with it. So this DA in New York is elevating his misdemeanor to a felony based on a federal crime that the federal government has already said didn't happen. That's how crazy this is. And that's insane. And that's why this is clearly a political prosecution. Period. There's no doubt about it. This is solely a political prosecution. This is a theory that has never been tried before in the history of the state of New York or anywhere else that I can think of, where you want to elevate a misdemeanor to a felony based on a federal felony that the federal government has already said wasn't a felony. It's insane. So this is clearly just a political prosecution, hands down. I mean, that's my legal analysis of it. Regardless of my political views or my slants or leanings or who I support or whatever, just from a legal standpoint, this theory is insane. And most legal analysts will tell you this, even the people on the left. There's plenty of articles out there by people who hate Donald Trump that are saying, this doesn't make any sense, this is crazy. It's never happened in the history, basically, of prosecuting people. So that's why, switching from my legal analysis to my political analysis now, that's why this is clearly a political situation. This is an out-of-control district attorney who has decided that he wants to make a name for himself, because now, forever, Alvin Bragg will be in the history books. Whenever 10 years, 15, 20 years from now, somebody cracks a history book in social studies, they're going to find Alvin Bragg's name because it's going to be listed as the first person who ever indicted a former president, and specifically President Donald J. Trump, because they hate him so much. So that's all this is. The guy's trying to get his 15 minutes of fame. He's trying to make a name for himself, and he's trying to get longevity by being forever enshrined in the history of American politics. How's this going to play out? My theory is, and it's just a theory, but you can check back in a couple of years, is this is essentially going to ensure that Donald Trump gets the Republican nomination, because obviously his poll numbers are going to go up. This victim Trump is a great thing for him, and it is crap, so a lot of people are going to rally behind him. A lot of the other candidates are going to just kind of fade into the background now because he's going to suck up all the oxygen in the room. He's going to end up being the nominee. My concern is that's 100% what the Democrats want, because truthfully, there probably is only one person on this planet that corpse Joe Biden could beat in an election, and it's probably Donald Trump, because I don't see anything different that would make the independents who went for Biden last time swing back over to Trump. If they didn't vote for Trump last time, they're not going to vote for him this time just because he's been indicted. That's not going to make them want to vote for him more. It's not. They may blow it off and not care because they realize it's politics, but it's not going to swing them back over. So the issue isn't rallying the Republican base. He's going to get that. The issue is going to be, how do you win back the suburban moms who don't like Trump because of his tweets and his personality? How are you going to win back the independents who don't like all the drama and crap that went on during his presidency? How are you going to win back some of the middle class workers that he lost because he didn't come through with some of his promises and stuff? I'm not saying don't vote for the guy. I voted for him twice. If he's a nominee, I'll vote for him again. But I think, unfortunately, the politics of this are weird, because the people on the left are happy, people on the right are happy, but I think that this may just lead to us having, a Biden-Trump 2.0, and I don't know why we'd get anything different this time than last time. Now, a lot of things can change with that, but we'll see how it plays out. But essentially, this is a political prosecution, persecution, whatever you want to say it. Trump is going to end up having to go up to New York to turn himself in. They're going to take his photo. They're going to take a booking photo. They're going to take his fingerprints. I'm sure the booking photo will be all over the place. And then it's just going to be a whole big circus and a free-for-all. And this is the state of American politics today. I don't know how any of this is good for the country. But again, politicians don't really care about what's good for the country. They either care about what's good for themselves, number one, and then what's good for their party, number two. So this is certainly something that's only going to make things worse. There are clearly people in this country who run this country who just want to divide this country and tear it apart, because there's no other reason why something like this would happen. But that's my analysis. That's my breakdown of the legalities of it, in case people are wondering exactly what's happened here, and then a little bit of political commentary on the backside. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Again, like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends about the channel. And I'm going to end it here. So as always, stay safe, stay healthy, stay vigilant, and as always, carry on.